Yeah, Rod and Megan, the temperature has dropped and the wind is starting to pick up as this freezing drizzle is coming down. So it's getting pretty nasty out here. The road conditions are very slick. I'm over at Van Dorn Park by Highway 2 and 10th Street. So please do not travel unless you absolutely have to, as you could be stranded in whiteout conditions. Please do not travel if you don't have to. Like I said, the roads are being very slick. So if you do travel and you get stranded, make sure you have an extra change of clothes in your car, as well as a phone charger so you can call for help if needed. Julia Hudson has been under investigation since September for operating an unlicensed dog breeding facility. But when deputies went to check on her yesterday, they say they found a shocking scene. On September 13th, the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office was called to Julia Hudson's property after deputies say a dog bit a delivery driver. They say Hudson was unable to prove the dog was vaccinated, and they say they discovered something else.
While deputies were on the scene, they cited her for that violation. They also discovered that Hudson was operating an unlicensed dog breeding facility where there were more than 20 dogs on the scene, and many of the dogs were living in unsanitary conditions.
This isn't the first time Hudson has been accused of animal cruelty. Similar charges were filed in 2013. She was put on probation and banned from owning dogs for 2 years.
A lot of the dogs, there was multiple dogs in each crate. A lot of them had feces and urine staining on their coats and some matting as well. And so we removed all 28 dogs from the property.
Initial vet checkups show the dogs to be in relatively good health, but the Humane Society says it will know more once the coats have been dematted. The dogs currently take up 30% of the Humane Society's intake facility, but they won't be up for adoption anytime soon.
All the dogs are being held for the court proceedings, and at this time they won't be available for adoption. We'll have to see how the court proceedings progress, and hopefully we will be able to take custody and ownership of the dogs and get them all spayed and neutered and up for adoption. But at this point, it's a waiting game.
And we did try to reach out to Ms. Hudson for comment, but we were unsuccessful. LSO is still investigating on the grounds of animal abuse, neglect, and operating an unlicensed breeding facility. Let's bowl, let's rock and roll. It was a tight match today between Columbus and Norfolk for the championship title. The Unified Bowling Championship took place at Sun Valley Lanes and Games. It's a type of bowling that involves multiple team members taking turns each frame. The teams are typically composed of athletes with disabilities who are paired with students in the general population.
It gets them together, it gives them a chance to be part of a team, and gets them a chance to do something like this that they would never get to do if we didn't have unified bowling.
The Class A championship came down to Norfolk High School and Columbus High School. The teams were so similar, no one knew who would come out on top.
When I knew that we were bowling Norfolk, I knew it would be a battle because it always is. We're very evenly matched. It's awesome because we get to see Norfolk a lot. We're only 40 minutes away from each other, and the kids are friends, so they know each other. It's fun to bowl against them, but my heart rate was going a little bit during that last match.
Matthew Holcomb was named player of the game for a killer series of strikes towards the end of the 5th game.
The team was feeling, pretty excited when I got that strike in the 10th frame. So as long as I just kept on making my marks, then we got there.
In the end, Columbus defeated Norfolk 3-2, taking home the title of state champion.
I could not be prouder. They deserve everything that they're getting today. All the accolades, all the praise. They do this. We show up. I tell them who's bowling when, and then they have to go out there and bowl, and they have to be there to support each other. When someone throws a gutter, they have to lift each other up, and they do that.
And while Columbus took home the trophy for Class A, Lexington beat out Ogallala in the Class B Unified Bowling Championship match. Yeah, there have been a lot of flights canceled across the United States for the next day or so, which makes traveling for the holidays much harder. There have been so many cancellations that Lincoln's airport almost came to a complete standstill. Over 2,000 flights were either delayed or canceled altogether due to the winter storm barreling through the country. Only 4 of Lincoln's 12 flights got up in the air Thursday, and travelers in Omaha got stuck with almost 40 delays or cancellations. Experts say planning ahead and being patient is essential to getting where you need to go.
Doing things early takes a lot of stress out of the system. So arrive early, get there as early as you can, and then the lines, when you see the line, then you won't worry, am I going to get through security in time to get on my flight?
And a few other tips for the weary traveler. If you fly early, get to the airport the night before and have a friend drive you there and try to take a direct flight to your destination. So if you're flying tomorrow, both Lincoln and Omaha have most of their flights at their scheduled time, as long as you're not flying into Chicago. For the most up-to-date information, check out your airline's mobile app or website. If you take a look behind me, you may not even be able to see it right now, but there is a tiny trickle of water coming in from the creek nearby the nursery. If that trickle stops and they have to drain the pond that's behind me, then they will be completely out of water until the next rain comes. Spirits are really high right now at the first stop of the 50-mile march. They've made it just outside of Lincoln, but they are still a fifth of the way there. So we will see how they're feeling at the end in Omaha. Reporting in Lincoln, Rebecca Heckel, Channel 8 News. Bennett Fire and Rescue is getting the town's first ambulance in 2023, making their response time to medical emergencies significantly faster. And 5 members of the Bennett Fire Department will go through EMT training starting in January, so they will be ready to go when the new ambulance arrives. The National Women's March organization is calling for a fall of reckoning after Roe v. Wade was overturned earlier this year. So today, the Capitol steps in Lincoln were filled with women calling for more reproductive rights. And in case you missed the poultry show today, no worries. While the winners were picked today, the coops will still be up tomorrow if you want to see the state's best birds. All right, welcome back. Let's hear from Turner Wistruck for entertainment. Turner, tell me we got some indoor activities because it is chilly out there. And speaking of Florida, Nebraska Nightly reported several weeks ago that Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse was rumored to be the next president of the University of Florida. It's now official. The Florida Board of Governors approved Sasse as the new president of Gator Nation earlier this month. Sasse announced his resignation from the United States Senate via Twitter, saying he will finish the current Senate session and resign in January. Sasse's replacement will be appointed by Nebraska's Governor-elect Jim Pillen once he officially takes office in 2023. Nebraskans also had the chance to vote for 3 ballot initiatives, and all 3 passed with flying colors. The first initiative will increase Nebraska's minimum wage incrementally to $15 an hour by 2026. That increase will start as soon as January 1st of next year, raising the current wage from $9 to $10.50 an hour. The second initiative requires all voters to have a valid form of government-issued photo ID to cast a ballot. While there's been confusion as to what a valid ID means, it will be up to the state legislature to interpret the language before it takes effect. And the third initiative passed seeks to increase access to commercial flights for small and medium-sized airports in the state. Written as a constitutional amendment, local governments will now be able to use revenue to expand regularly scheduled passenger air service.